Curtis, would you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Clinton Eugene Curtis.
And where do you reside?
Tallahassee, Florida.
And what is your profession?
I'm a computer programmer.
Would you please speak into the microphone so the audience can hear your testimony?
I'm a computer programmer.
Mr. Curtis, are there programs that can be used to secretly fix elections?
Yes.
How do you know that to be the case?
Because in October of 2000, I wrote a prototype for President Congressman Tom Feeney at the company I worked for in Oviedo, Florida, that did just that.
And when you say did just that, it would rig an election?
It would flip the vote 51-49 to whoever you wanted it to go to and whichever race you wanted to win.
And would that program that you designed be something that elections officials that might be on county boards of elections could detect?
They'd never see it.
Would you answer that question once again?
They would never see it.
So how would such a program, a secret program that fixes the election, how could it be detected?
You would have to view it either in the source code, or you'd have to have a receipt and then count the hard paper against the actual vote total. Other than that, you won't see it.
All right, Mr. Curtis, if you had been asked, you or others with your professional expertise had been asked to design a protective program that would protect the Ohio elections from against such software to fix the election, could you have done so?
If we've been asked to make a program that can fix the election, sure, anybody can do it.
No, could you have designed a program or a procedure or a protocol that would have protected Ohio against this kind of rigging?
No, you have to look at the source code. You have to get probably programmers from both or all parties to look at the source code and determine if there's anything in there that shouldn't be there. I mean, it's a simple program. You're adding 1 to a person's total. It's 100 lines of code tops.
All right. Are you aware of whether there was any protective action in Ohio against this kind of vote rigging through software?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You were not asked to assist in the development of any protective system, is that correct?
No, I was not.
Given the availability of such vote rigging software and the testimony that has been given under oath of substantial statistical anomalies and gross differences between exit polling data and the actual tabulated results, do you have an opinion whether or not the Ohio election, presidential election, was hacked?
Yes, I would say it was. I mean, if you have exit polling data that is significantly off from the vote, then it's probably hacked.
And your testimony is under oath?
Yes, sir.
And the testimony you've given is true?
Yes, sir.
To support this channel. But just wanted to throw it out there because I haven't been able to post on the Patreon account things that her and I have been batting back and forth this morning, but then I want to focus on some of the things that were buried by all of this over the last week. Things that I myself would have normally been covering extensively, and things that you might have already seen as well, but just kind of a, reconnection here. Let's get some daily wrap-up going on and get some more, let you guys see what I'm seeing behind the scenes, just in case you're not seeing it, and hope that people out there are really beginning, and as I titled the video today, and I really mean this, you have every single reason, logical and otherwise, to be questioning every single part about what COVID-19 is right now. And that's not my opinion, that's the facts. It's all out there. And if it wasn't about COVID or some political discussion, if this was about any other topic, everybody would be like, well, yeah, obviously. Oh, that's there? Well, yeah, that's questionable, right? Obviously, these things are questionable. Now, the video that I started off with, I actually didn't plan to play that much of it in the beginning. Ultimately, the point was to play a clip of it and then play more of it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go back and play it again now because I got caught up with the Patreon thing in the beginning. Maybe I'll play it again just really quickly in the beginning so people can see it, but this is a really, really important part of this whole discussion. The idea that this happened in general, and this is just one of probably 15 different things that I've been showing year after year after year that show you that your vote doesn't count anymore. that they have made sure, whether it's with the things that have been there for a while, such as gerrymandering or super PACs or, all these different things that they've added that give them more control over the outcome and the influence of the people involved who have the money, which is what ultimately matters, that there are countless examples of why your vote is simply an illusion, that they give you a process by which to feel like you have some involvement. I mean, we've already talked about the Princeton study that showed very clearly that your vote has a minuscule, near zero, statistically insignificant effect on policy. That's a direct quote from Princeton study about your country, right? About your society, our society, living in the United States. So if they can come to the conclusion that we don't have a democracy, we in fact have an oligarchy, and that our opinion plays a minuscule, near zero, statistically insignificant effect on that policy, then what are we talking about? Sure, that's just one study by a prestigious college, but there's plenty more examples. And this person I showed you in the beginning was a person named Clint Curtis who testified in front of Congress in Ohio that said and told people quite plainly, I was hired to manipulate votes. I did manipulate votes. Here's how it could be done. Here's how it's easy. Here's why nobody would know. And guess what happened, guys? Those same machines were used in the next election. Now, why, how, any other word you want to throw in there, how is that possible? It's possible in a scenario where the people who are in charge are the ones involved with manipulating you. As it says right here, he's an American attorney, computer programmer, and ex-employee of NASA. He worked, as well as ExxonMobil, but NASA seems very relevant to, just the general, opinion of how intelligent people that might work there. He worked for, rocket scientist and all. He worked for Yang Enterprises until February 2001. Now, the timing of when this was happening, I find very relevant. Elections and so on following 9/11. He is notable, before and after, which is the point, because they're talking about testifying and as well as elections that happened after the fact. He is notable chiefly for making a series of whistleblower allegations about his former employer and Republican Congressman Tom Feeney, including an allegation that in 2000, Feeney and Yang Enterprises requested Curtis's assistance in a scheme to steal votes by inserting fraudulent code into touchscreen systems. Now, let's be clear about this. This was very easy to show. This happened. This is the case. Now, why nobody went to prison for that? Why we didn't change anything after that? Why this didn't have this effect that you might think something like this would have is the question you should be asking. In 2006, Curtis ran unsuccessfully against Feeney for the United States congressional seat and lost. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because they're cheating? I mean, this is what happens when somebody who ostensibly, I don't know this person personally, but ostensibly tries to do what, play in the system to try to change for good, and you don't win. Bottom line, guys, is I'll just show you the opening clip here real quick again. This happened, and nobody did anything about it.